Today we're going to talk about one of the easiest ways you can increase your revenue as a Filipino business owner by 90% in 30 days or less. Now, the only reason why I think I'm qualified to share this with you is because I spent the last 10 years generating over 500 million pesos worth of revenue across multiple businesses. I've also built a lead generation system that allowed our sales team to book out with 20 meetings per day full of hot and qualified leads. And we've been also able to get our agency client over a 200 times return on ad spend. Now, why is what I'm going to be sharing today important? Is because we can keep on filling our minds with pointless BS like just lower the costs of your product to compete, or just keep being pushy, or just use fancy words for marketing and do that for years, which is what I actually did, and not get any results. Here's what you need to understand. Optimizing your business revenue is a skill. It's a skill that requires a certain understanding of specific frameworks that you need to work within and levers that you need to properly pull for you to be able to get the results that you want. Here's what I can promise you. If you learn to implement what I'm going to be sharing with you today into your business, you're going to start to see a significant increase in revenue. So if you've been struggling with getting your business from where it is now to where you know it should be, then stick with me, because this is probably going to be the best YouTube training around this specific topic you will ever find on the internet. And that's why I'm excited about it. So let's get to it. So if you've been following the past videos, you probably know by now that the key framework we use in order to increase our business revenue is called the theory of constraints. The theory of constraints dictates that our business is limited by mechanisms that are yet to be fully efficient. Last video, we talked about how we can elevate constraints within having the right product market fit. Market is the cornerstone mechanism that we have to fix because it affects all the other mechanisms. Now, if you haven't watched that last video, I highly recommend you do, because what we're going to be talking about today will make more sense for you. If you are done, we can now focus on finding the right offer for our business. We must build an offer so good that people who say no to it feel just outright dumb and stupid. Now, before we go ahead and do that, let's take a look at a couple of facts. According to Invesp with a P, a leading company in CRO or conversion rate optimization, they've worked with companies like eBay, Discovery Channel, Target. According to them, businesses with an optimized offer see up to 50% increase in revenue. So if you are making 1 million pesos per month, you could start to make 500,000 pesos more. Quite significant. Next statistic we want to look at is by CXL, formerly known as Conversion XL Institute. They've worked with famous companies like Google, Cisco, HP, and Salesforce. According to them, if you are able to find the right offer for your market, you can increase your conversion rate by up to 90%. So let's say, for example, you are spending 1 million pesos on marketing budget and you are getting 2 million pesos from that spend. If you're able to dial in your offer, instead of making just 2 million from that, you can increase that by 90%, which is 3.8 million pesos, adding a total of 1.8 million pesos to your top line revenue. Insanely significant. Now, this is what I'm talking about. Many people tend to overcomplicate the process by doing fancier marketing or hiring too many salespeople, when in fact, the problem most of the time can be found in the simple changes, the small adjustments that we need to make. Today, we're going to talk about exactly how we can get these results step by step. To start to do that, first, we must understand what I would like to call the spectrum of satisfaction. The spectrum of satisfaction is fundamentally people's journey from sadness to happiness, from where they hate to be, Hell Island, to where they would love to be, otherwise known as Heaven Island. So, Hell Island represents our biggest pains, sorrows, and fears, whereas Heaven Island represents our biggest dreams, joys, and pleasures. Everyone, every day, is in a journey to get from Hell Island to Heaven Island. Now, to dive deeper into this, in between the spectrum of satisfaction, there are what we call impulse drivers. Impulse drivers are psychological triggers that tap into our primal instinct, which push us to take action or buy a specific product or service. We've touched a bit on this on the last video, but today we're going to dive a bit deeper. So again, what are these impulse drivers? One impulse driver is an increase of speed in delivering the promise or the product that the people are buying into. As we all know, people hate waiting. So any product that is able to help a customer achieve their goal, dream, or desire in a faster way will definitely increase its value. So for example, if your product is e-commerce, being able to have a faster delivery will increase its value. If your product is a service, if you are able to deliver that service within a shorter time frame, then that would also increase its value. Another thing that we can take a look at is how the product is able to decrease the suffering that an individual has to go through before achieving their goal, dream, or desire. People hate going through pain. Make the process for them easier or more painless. An example of this is Uber. Instead of people having to hail cabs daily, all they have to do is book a car in an app and they will get someone to pick them up within 5 to 10 minutes. That's why it was such a big hit before. That's why it's still a big hit today. Another thing we can take a look at is how a product or service is able to increase the certainty of a person achieving that which they pay for. In order for you to do this, there are a couple of ways. One is you can tap into a person's desire for social validation. If you flood your page with good reviews, it increases the person's chance of buying drastically. Another way is by throwing in money back or satisfaction guarantees to show the individual that you are that confident with your product's ability to deliver results. To give you more examples on the spectrum of satisfaction, Hell Island is being unhealthy. Therefore, Heaven Island is being fit. Hell Island is being broke. Heaven Island is becoming rich. Hell Island, for many people, is being single. Heaven Island is having a relationship. Most people who are aging want to stay young. Most people who are sad want to become happy. So ideally, what your product or offer would do is utilize all of these impulse drivers in order to help them get from here to here in a way that is faster, requires less pain involved, and is more guaranteed. Now, to integrate our understanding on the spectrum of satisfaction, let's go through a couple of examples. Let's take a look at goals, dreams, and aspirations that most people have and find products within these aspirations that allow a person to achieve the goal that they want. What we're going to do is we're going to rate and compare how these products appeal to our impulse drivers. So first, let us take a look at the goal of humanity, which is to achieve inner joy and overall well-being. Now, what is something that people can do in order for them to be able to achieve this? There is a lot of study and research that backs up the efficacy of meditation. Now, let's think about a product that allows people to be able to achieve this as well. Ang naiisip ko na product is pharmaceuticals, more specifically designer drugs, recreational drugs, and even antidepressants. So, dito muna tayo sa meditation. Let us just use 1 to 3, 1 being low appeal, 2 being moderate appeal, and 3 being high appeal. When we meditate, mabilis ba yung speed achieving more inner joy and well-being? Probably if you are an expert, it will take you 5 to 10 minutes to enter into that meditative state. However, if you are just starting out, it could take you 30 minutes, it can take you an hour, it can even take you more than that. So I wouldn't say na sobrang lakas yung appeal niya in terms of speed increase. So let's put a 2. Now let's take a look at the certainty. In order for us to achieve inner joy and well-being through meditation, we need to practice this as a discipline. It's not like you meditate today and then forever you're gonna be happy. We wish it was like that, but unfortunately it's not. So mataas ba yung chances that people will be able to consistently meditate every day? Is that a practice that everyone, given the busy schedules that we have, will be able to do? I don't think it's easy, simply because you need to make this a priority. So out of 3, what would be the appeal? I would put 2. Now let's take a look at decreased suffering. When we meditate, is it a painful process? Well, physically no, but I would argue that when we meditate, we have to grapple with thoughts that sometimes we're uncomfortable with, and we need to let those thoughts flow freely without us judging those thoughts. And quite frankly, I believe that a lot of people are afraid to do that. I wouldn't say that it's totally no suffering, but I wouldn't also say that it's the most difficult thing to do. So let's put a 2 total. We have a score of 6. Now let's take a look at pharmaceuticals. Yung speed by which people get results of better well-being or inner joy, mabilis ba siya? For most people, it is instantaneous. Definitely 3 to. In terms of certainty, mataas ba yung chances that people will experience this result? When you take something, you will feel something. This is also 3. In terms of suffering, sobrang hirap ba na mag-take ng pill? No. You just pop it, you drink water, and then it's done. You do this every day, you get to maintain the results that you want. So, we'll put this at 3. So total 9. Next question. How much is meditation? Meditation is literally free. How much are pharmaceuticals? It would depend on what type of pharmaceuticals you're purchasing, but I would say roughly nasa mga in between 2.5k to 5k to per month. As we can see, mas mataas yung appeal ng medication or pharmaceuticals sa impulse drivers natin compared to meditation even if it's free. Now, let's take a look at how that stands true on a macro scale, which is a bigger industry. The meditation industry, the mindfulness industry, or the pharmaceutical or the medication industry. It's definitely the pharmaceutical industry. Let's take a look at another example. Sabihin natin, yung aspiration or goal is weight loss or dream body or becoming fit. What is something that people can do that will get them more fit? Obviously, the natural way is through exercise and proper diet. Now, what is something that people can buy in order for them to also achieve weight loss or get closer to their dream body? Liposuction. Let's compare both. Let's go with exercise and diet first. Yung speed ba by which people will be able to achieve weight loss through their exercise and diet, mabilis? I would say minimum, you have to give it at least 90 days para makasilip ka ng reasonable transformation. It would probably take almost a year in order to see a total body transformation. I wouldn't say mabilis siya at all. So the appeal sa impulse driver na speed, 1. What about certainty? Gaano kataas yung chance that people will stay consistent with their diet or exercise? Generally, we see the gym packed with people during when? During New Year. However, as months pass, we see that number significantly drop because it's difficult for people to stay committed to their New Year's resolutions or their weight loss goals. So in terms of certainty, medyo mababa din. 1. Suffering. Is going to the gym or going on a diet void of suffering? I can confidently say that it involves a lot of suffering because you have to sacrifice your favorite foods, your favorite sweets, and eating as often as you would like to. And on top of that, you would have to put your body into a lot of time under tension and aerobic exercises in order for you to achieve your desired results. So by no means does this decrease your suffering. It certainly does increase it. 1. Total, we have 3. Now, what about liposuction? Okay, let's talk about speed. Mabilis ba yung liposuction? It's just a one-day procedure and it takes maybe a week for you to recover. In comparison to the other options out there, liposuction is super fast. 3. In terms of certainty, sigurado bang makukuha mo yung results sa liposuction? Whether or not you get a 100% ideal result is debatable, but it's almost impossible for you not to see any result if you go through a liposuction procedure. In terms of certainty of result, 3 din siya. Now, does liposuction involve suffering? Maybe if you are a person who is afraid of going under the knife, you might think of that as suffering. However, all you have to do essentially is go through that process while you're asleep, and then when you wake up, the procedure is going to be done. So I wouldn't say it's the most suffering. It's just the thought of being under the knife. But if you can stomach that in, then it doesn't require as much suffering. Suffering 2. Total score, we have 8. How much is going to the gym and upgrading your diet? Siguro if you get a reasonably priced gym membership, plus you invest in upgrading your diet, siguro average 5,000 pesos per month yung idadagdag mo. In comparison to liposuction, which is around 150,000 pesos. Obviously, exercising and diet has a significantly lower cost. However, many people are willing to pay 150,000 pesos just for it to be over fast so that they can achieve their goal. Now, whether or not this is better long-term depends entirely on the person. But whether or not this is reality, it's obvious. We can have a debate over the longevity of this, but we cannot argue with human nature. If we want to be able to structure a good offer, we need to make decisions about our offer based on reality. Now, a lot of people also ask, what about price? Isn't price a reasonable impulse driver? On one end, I would say yes, because there's a reason why promos and discounts have worked for ages. But to a much deeper level, I would say no, because for one, there is no benefit in being the second cheapest product or service in the market. Sure, if you're able to increase your other impulse drivers in comparison to your competitors, there may be a silver lining to being second cheapest, but if everything stays the same, there is no advantage. Another reason why I advise against focusing on cost as an impulse driver is because of the price to value discrepancy. When people purchase a product, they believe that they are either getting more value or as much value as the price that they pay for the product. So sabihin natin, ito yung price that people pay, let's put cost, and this is the value. Okay? Now, when people purchase a product and then they notice na ito yung price na ginastos nila pero yung value dito, what happens? When there's a positive cost to value margin, people are satisfied. They become happy, and most of the time they will buy again. But when there is a negative cost to value margin, what will happen? Pag ito yung cost, tapos ito yung value na nakuha ng mga tao, people are dissatisfied and there is a very big chance that they will not purchase the product ever again. Now, in order for us to further illustrate this, let's take a look at price flywheels. If you have a low price, most of the time you have no choice but to decrease the quality of your product or service. Lower quality ingredients, lower quality talent, lower quality parts. And when you have lower quality, oftentimes, this will lead to mediocre or poor results. When you have poor results, this leads to unsatisfied clients and bad reputation. When you have bad reputation, it's possible that the clients will not purchase again, or you will have to keep lowering your price in order for you to continue appealing to a market that is already disappointed. The reason why I advise against competing based on cost is because in today's world, there are so many people that are so desperate to make a profit that they would be willing to compromise on the quality just to make money. And unfortunately, that doesn't work out long term. So these people end up having to go out of business, compete in price forever with everyone else, which is basically like a race to the bottom, or they are forced, when they reach a dead end, to restructure their pricing or business model. Now, let's take a look at the high price flywheel. If you focus on having a high price, this allows you to have good margins for good quality products or services. You can get a good quality team to fulfill your service. You can get good quality ingredients to put into your product. You can get good parts to create a good technology. Now, what happens when you have a good product? People get great results. And when people get great results, what happens? People are satisfied, people give you good reviews, and people reorder. And that justifies an even higher price increase eventually because you have already won the trust of the market. Over time, this is a more sustainable and personally enjoyable flywheel because you really feel like you are getting your money's worth. Okay, so now, how do we integrate everything that we learned today and put it into action so that we can see immediate results in our business in 30 days or less? We want to be able to create a chart comparing our competitors' offers with your offer. So we're gonna do a bit of the same thing that we did a while ago. We're gonna rate the appeal of our competitor's product and your product to impulse drivers. You're going to rank it out of 3. Again, 1 being low appeal, 2 being moderate appeal, and 3 being high appeal. And you're going to total that. You want to keep on working on your offer until you have the highest score in the market. You want to stack as much value as possible until it becomes undeniably the best product. In our next video, we're gonna walk through the specifics on how to do this step by step, but I hope this video was sufficient to get you started in optimizing your offer. So if you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. And if you are a business that is looking for a way to increase your top line revenue, there's a link for that below. What our company does is we help businesses increase their revenue by 50 to 100% in 90 days, or they get their money back. So if that is something that you would want to explore, kindly click on the link below. But if not, just like and subscribe. Again, thank you for watching today's video. I'll see you in the next one.